Morning, white-haired gardener here. Today we're going to turn this into butter. Now we're lucky enough to have a local creamery that I was able to get some cream from, but you can do this also with heavy whipping cream from the store. But we're sticking with this today because, well, it's nice. Now, as you can see on here, I've only filled this jar halfway full. Doesn't matter what kind of jar you use, what size or anything like this, but only fill it halfway because it's going to be going through some changes.
Do make sure that the lid closes well.
Yeah, ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first things first, basically you take this and you start shaking. Here we go. I have been shaking this for about 5 minutes. And by the way, this is a great arm exercise. And no, I didn't stand here for 5 minutes shaking it. I actually sat down and got comfy. But wow, you'll feel it in your arms. Now, let me show you what I've got. Now, here we go. Let me get the lid off here. And if you can see inside here, I don't know how great, I can take a spoon and scoop some out, but the fat, the butter, is separating from the buttermilk. And you can see it's still really soft, but it is doing its thing. So I'm gonna go back to shaking and I'll show you later on when it gets closer to full butter stage. We now have the butter separated from the buttermilk, and the first thing I'm going to do is hopefully not make a huge mess, but I am going to strain off the buttermilk into a jar, and then we're going to put the butter into its own bowl for the next stage. Well, of course, I would make a mess. As you can see, we've cleaned up the mess. Now, do as I say, not as I do. First, you strain it into the bowl, then pour it into the jar. Not the other way around. So, on with today's lesson. Now, we have a little bit of buttermilk here so you can kind of see it. Not nearly as much as we would have had if I hadn't gotten ahead of myself. Next, we have the butter sitting here. I'm going to do this with ice water. Now we pour some in here. The ice water will do two things. The first, it will help firm up the butter. Second, when the water runs clear, you'll know that there is no more buttermilk left in the butter. Now, you can see that this butter is starting to firm up, but look how cloudy this water is. This is the remaining buttermilk that's left inside this. I will dump this out and do that ice water rinse a few more times. Well, now as you can see, the water is finally clear. This is the time I would add salt, pour out the water, fold in some salt if you like that, or you can leave unsalted butter. Now, you may be asking, white-haired gardener, why in the world would I spend all this time making butter? Well, holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and what a novel thing to be able to do is when you put all of your food on the table, put out the butter and say, I made this. So that's my little fun tip for today. The only thing I would also say is, do as I say, not as I do, and make sure you pour it into the bowl, not directly into a jar, because, well, as you can see, it didn't work out so well. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any comments or suggestions, leave them below and come back again.